Hello, everybody, and welcome to the You Should Meet My Sisters podcast. I'm Monique Danielle.
I'm Leah-Naomi.
I'm Felicia-Juliana, and this is our dad.
Hey, Dad.
Hi, this is.
Is that it? Hello, hello, Benjamin.
Dad,
How are
you
you
can do
doing?
better than that.
I'm the father of these crazy people that you're watching every week, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Ben,
Dad.
Hi.
Ben on Benjamin.
Go, Benny,
Okay.
go,
Go,
Benny,
Benny,
go,
go.
Benny, go, Benny, go.
Benny, go.
See what I'm
Look
saying?
at his
See what
face.
I'm saying?
Is it going to be texting us evil stuff?
He's
Guys,
already
check
sick
your
of
emails
us.
now.
How are we doing this
Oh.
week, everybody?
Okay, apart from the whole new lockdown. That's
don't
not
talk
being a
about it.
lockdown.
It's even though it's a lockdown.
Remember last week I said I do not want to talk about coronavirus again.
I don't know why you thought you could get away with not talking about it. We're in tier
not
2,
gone.
baby.
Don't
Tier
say
two.
such
You
positivity.
twice since February.
Tier 2, what a joke.
No, tier 3 is a joke. Have you seen that? Go to the pub, but you can't drink unless you're eating.
You know
Is that what they
What?
say?
complicates
In tier
the whole
3.
thing? What complicates the whole thing is like you've got the national level, and
Mm-hmm.
then on top of that, you've got your local restrictions on top of that. So
Yeah.
in theory, you could be tier 2 nationally, and then locally, you can have additional, additional restrictions. So you could be tier
Exactly.
2, and then Birmingham City Council say, no, we're not going to leave the pubs open. So you have
Yeah.
on top of that, and this is totally confusing for everybody. And the thing is, generally you start to get the sense that a lot of people, I mean, when you walk around and whatever, you get the sense that a lot of people have just got to the stage where they're like, you know what, I'll take my
Get it.
chances. The numbers are
Yeah.
not that,
Exactly.
that
That's
scary and whatever. I'll take my chances. I've only got 10 people in my circle of friends or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I don't know anybody personally who's had COVID, and I don't know
Mm-hmm.
anybody of the people I know who knows somebody personally as
That
having
has
COVID.
COVID, yeah.
And so you get to the stage where everyone's like, well, the circle we're moving in doesn't have an infection, so we
What's the
It's
point?
because we cook
What's
with
the point?
spices.
It's because we cook with spices, because we use ginger every day.
Garlic, raw garlic every day.
You know, every day.
Exactly.
You
Well,
know what it
Chicken
is?
fillet.
if that was true, if that was true, think about it. If that was
There'd
true,
be no COVID in Italy.
no, the issue is that the incidences of COVID are amongst the minorities, the BAME or whatever minorities, all of who have spices in their food and what have you. But on the other hand, is the issue of people living in more confined spaces, lots of people,
Yeah.
different generations, and
Yeah.
you have no choice about you can't choose 6 people when you
It's
when
not
you're
only that as well, it's also ethnic minorities have they're more likely to have certain illnesses.
Mhm.
And they say that
Mhm.
if you've got pre-existing conditions with COVID, it's going to attack you
That's where
harder.
it's
So
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that this is the thing is that COVID doesn't run around looking for somebody who's got a weak immune system.
this is what I'm saying.
It becomes a problem. It becomes a problem when you catch it, not
Yeah.
So
Now
if
that you're
you've
more
got
prone
asthma,
to
it
it.
doesn't mean that if you go out there with somebody else who hasn't got asthma,
Mm-hmm.
that other one's not going to catch COVID and you're going to catch COVID. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
That's not how it works.
what it
No,
means is
no,
that
no.
if you both catch COVID, you are likely to be the one who is in more serious trouble than the person who hasn't
Yeah.
got asthma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the bad outcomes are based on underlying
Issues.
conditions,
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
fact that you catch it.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then again, you've got to think about what they call viral load. If you walk past somebody who just like sort of breathes on you for 2 or 3 seconds, you might catch a few what you want to call them germs, viruses, and then
Yeah.
it's not enough to set off a serious attack. So you could argue sometimes that people who have had a second onset of the virus, the first time they got it, it was mild because they never had that virus load, as they call it. But if you go and spend a week with somebody who's got COVID, you'll like people who work in the NHS and whatever. Yeah. They're constantly being exposed to who are sick. That they, even if they catch it the first time, it's only light, but they're continuously getting more and more. It's being added on, so the load becomes heavy on the body. So So the question is that okay? What's making it a bigger problem amongst the BAME community is the fact that a lot of people actually live on top of each other in most cases. But 3 generations living in a house, or you've got what's happening to the university students, where there's 5 people from 5 different households sharing a household. They're sharing the kitchen. They're sharing the toilet facilities. What's going to happen?
That's a bit mad.
No. There was something I saw. I only caught a bit of it, where somebody said, "Okay, I can meet 6 people from 6 different households 4 times a day, and that's 24 people I've met." So I might as well have met all 24 one at the same time.
Look at me doing the school run. Do you know how many strangers I'm around? My kids are running in the playground, hugging their friends. I'm like, oh, you might get sick.
But this is why the rule.
I can't handle runny noses, but
it doesn't.
To me, it doesn't make sense, because if you're encouraging people to go to work, to travel on a bus, to go to a restaurant, to eat, to drink in a pub, all of this, money, to go to the cinema, whatever, to spend money and to keep the economy going, you're already exposed to all of these people anyway. So you're safer with the people that you know. You're safer working at home and then being able to see the people that you know, because you know their whereabouts.
Well, you know where they've been, you know what they're doing in it.
You know if they're likely to have caught anything. Whereas if I'm getting on the bus every day, different people every day, and it's an enclosed space, I'm more likely to get sick there, and I would rather get sick from my family than get sick from some strangers.
I know, because at the moment,
my family,
it's when they talk about STDs, and they're like, if you have sex with one person, you're having sex with the 3 people they had sex with. You're getting on the bus.
Getting on the bus
person that they live with, and all of that.
Yeah, and we've seen how people are. Like, people are sick of the lockdown, so they're going out and they're partying and they're drinking and they're. And I know that my people aren't doing that, so I'd rather be with my people.
Not in the same capacity. Not in the same capacity.
They're not doing it with people that they don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you go out and do one of these street parties and you're around, did you see what happened in London the other day as like a protest to the new lockdown rules?
No.
They went outside and had a huge street party, like everybody outside. I don't want that. You keep that. Keep that. Bojo, you can stop that. But don't stop me from to go see my dad.
Stop calling him Bojo.
That's his name.
It makes him too familiar, too human and friendly. No, thank you.
He's in our lives every day.
Literally there all the time.
Called Bojo. Right.
You know what? The reality is, respect for every other Prime Minister in the past has been that people haven't given them a nickname like Bojo. Like,
exactly.
Did you see the video?
Did you see the video of him tackling
as the name of a clown?
Exactly.
It's not friendly anymore, is it?
It rhymes with Bozo. And did you see the video of him tackling that little boy?
What?
Old video, come on.
When he was made. Yeah, but that's how you know that he hasn't got no sense.
Tackled a little boy.
I think he was doing like a charity rugby event, and he just knocks the little boy over, man. You can't trust this man for nothing.
You're talking, Monique. You could never do anything like that. If someone gave Monique anything competitive to do, whether it's kids or old people. She don't care. She don't care.
That's why I don't do it. Okay, I'm smart enough not to do it. At least not on camera.
Oh my gosh. We mentioned your favorite person, Monique. David Attenborough. Not Dave. David Attenborough.
I love Dave, you know. Can you
know how you girls have ended up with a situation where you are all like David Attenborough, like he's a rock star.
Because of you?
I wish I was like that, you know, having young
you made us watch him.
Wow, that Ben Ellis, oh my God.
I believe he's 93.
He's like the voice of God, you know. It's probably like 1,093. I'm okay with that. You know when people talk about reptilians and stuff, if you tell me David Attenborough's a reptilian, I'm like, okay, cool. Cool.
He's the one reptilian that will save this planet, keep him alive, preserve him at all costs. I don't care. Exactly. He's used to being around fossils. Let him become one. Okay, we love him. We love him. I love his voice. I wish that
he sounds like Winnie the Pooh grew up.
Exactly what he sounds like. Exactly what he sounds like. He was a handsome young man as well.
Bad news. Oh yeah, when he was younger, not now. Like.
After watching that documentary, well, he was quite the handsome young man. And I feel like
you got your grandmother's taste, Monique.
I do not have my grandmother's taste. Thank you very much. I'm just saying.
I think some of you need some help. Yeah.
No, if the animals can trust him, so can I. I really would like him to like record every sentence ever made, so that I can if he dies, we can still make documentaries with his voice. You know?
Oh, yeah, I swear.
He's so amazing.
That's actually nice. I like that.
Exactly. So we all watched his new documentary, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Dad,
so
did you watch it?
The new documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So last week we mentioned quickly that he's got an Instagram page. So he uploaded a video promoting this new documentary.
Yeah.
And it's basically it actually made me Hello. What?
Stop holding. Drop your mic.
Sorry. It made me really sad because he was like, "This is my witness statement." Like, where are you going? Why do we need a witness statement? Don't go anywhere.
There were a few things, you know, in this documentary that made me feel like, oh, sad. Dave, don't say this is the last one.
Yeah, like it's really heartbreaking. But after watching that,
but it's got a new series anyway as well, isn't it? It's not only that movie. He's got a latest series that's now on Netflix. A recent series. I think it's called Planet something, not Planet Earth. I think he did Planet Earth years ago.
Before.
But he's got another series, which is a series.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether he did the one that we watched before that, or he did it afterwards.
Oh, okay.
I saw his introduction to his Instagram.
Yes.
Thing, and I was really happy that he was doing something.
Do you follow him?
I haven't followed it, but I saw it.
It's Dave.
It's the Atmeister. It's the Atmeister. You have to follow him.
So I remember when Dad followed Stephen Fry on Twitter, and we were like,
we love Stevie Fry. We love Stevie Fry. Don't say anything bad about him either.
He's not been doing a lot on Twitter, has he, Steve? No, you know what I mean?
I think it was more for the younger.
I think it's more for not us.
What I like is the fact that you guys actually rate him as a person who knows what he's talking about. If there's anything that's going to change the current the way things are going, right, in the day today, in terms of saving the planet and whatever, it's going to come from you guys, because us old farts, and I'm going to be brutally honest about it, is that if you look at people like Bojo and company, and you look at Trump and company and whatever, these guys are in their 70s. They don't really care. They basically, let's make as much money as we can, retire gracefully, live till 90, die in a nice, comfortable hospital or whatever. They have no vested interest in changing what is now the status quo, which is a shame.
Exactly.
You know, because the thing is that I would rather die on a clean beach with blue sea, blue sky, not burning to death under the sun like it's, I don't want to do 50 degrees Celsius when I'm sitting on the and the only way we're going to do that is if we actually take some pride and take some concern about what's going on on the planet. For me, the thing that scares me probably the worst is the fact that it might already be too late.
Yeah.
It might already, and you know what? I have a little bit of how shall we put it? Confidence in human capacity to overcome obstacles, but it could not be a nice situation. You might survive, you might not live. So what's the use? You're going to live 20 years surviving hand to mouth, whatever. Maybe having to stay out of the midday sun and whatever you simply to survive, and your quality of life.
It's awful.
It's awful. It's awful. So, and then you're supposed to convince your children that life is worth living and what have you.
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at the situation, let's look at the states, and you look at the age of the people who are being elected as the leaders of the country.
God, I don't know.
Trump is both of them are over 70 years old. What exactly can these guys bring to the planet right now that is going to be of any interest to anybody younger than 40 or 50 or 30? You know what I mean? Nothing. I don't think they can. The emphasis on jobs, the emphasis on education that hasn't worked for how many years? It's a little bit disconcerting that we haven't got much more younger people, and this is the problem with the party system. Is that you got to work your way up in the party like you're in the civil service.
This meeting no longer has a time limit. Okay. Which one of us accidentally paid for Zoom?
I think it was Dave.
So what can they bring to the party? What can they really, and that's why sometimes I feel there's a lot more opportunity in Africa than there is here. Because in Africa, the kind of average age, and this is one of the reasons they suspect that COVID hasn't been such a big deal in Africa, is that the average age of people in Africa are in the early 20s, late 20s. And so COVID doesn't affect those people in the same way that it affects people of, my age or older than me.
Oh, because we're living longer here.
And so you get the sense that at some point you're going to have some younger people in places of power who have actually got an idea about how they're going to forward things up. Because I mean, what's a 70-year-old going to do? A 75-year-old going to do? They might be rational. They might speak the language, do the political stuff, but they have no new ideas, and they're not
and they're going to be out of touch.
30-year-olds or 40-year-olds. They're surrounding themselves with younger people, 60. Oh wow.
I feel like we always yo-yo through the same politics over and over again. Like as I've grown, I've noticed that it's always we're arguing over basically minutia when there's something huge to fight against. And I think that people of our generation and younger are extremely passionate about these things. I think documentaries like the one that that Dave just a life on our planet, like that, to me, it puts fire in a lot of us. I think it puts fire that is already there, but like it pushes for it, because we start to realize, okay, so the people who are making the decisions will be gone, and we want to have kids, and we want to bring those kids into a world that, like, why would I want to have a child now if I know that global warming is going to be such a crazy thing? Nobody wants that. And I think it's going to take for a lot of us to band together, because I feel like it is something that a lot of people care about, but there's such a small percentage of people making the decisions versus the amount of people who want to change things, and the voices of the people who want to change things are drowned out by politicians. And I feel like a lot of older people are used to being told what is happening by politicians and by the news. They're used to believing it, and like this is fact. So if I'm a Trump supporter and Trump says that global warming isn't a thing, everyone else is on a conspiracy. It's not a thing. Whereas I think, especially thanks to social media and these sorts of documentaries being spread a lot more, we can say, actually, nah, this is a game that they're playing. This isn't actually for our best interest. It's not for the best interest of the majority. For them to stay where they are, it takes for the majority to believe what they're saying and continue to work for them to stay where they are, you know? And we haven't
look at them as a safety net.
Exactly. And sometimes it's like, okay, we just need to take the risk and say, let's do, like, for me, if the Green Party could be in power, I'd go for it, because at the moment, I think it's a very precious moment in time where if nothing is done quickly, we might not be able to reverse the damage so much, but we can slow it down, stop it, you know, we can change things. And it's going to take for everybody to get together and say, look, this is something that, especially for our generation, to say, okay, you guys, you made your decisions, you messed the planet up. Yes, maybe when you were doing it, you didn't know that that's what you were doing. But now that we know that that's what you were doing, we need to fix it, and we need to figure out how to do it cohesively.
I think
but the thing is, what you got to remember is that one of the things is that as you young people are becoming aware, it's one of the facts of life that as you get older and get more comfortable, you become less politically driven. So, you know, if I look back to when I was your kind of age and whatever, I was a little bit more driven by the policies and say, you know what, these guys are doing a nonsense. We need some kind of revolution and whatever. As you get older, you mellow in that sense. So that might be one of the reasons why the pressure on our current bunch of leaders is so much less. And you got to remember that in most of the Western countries now in the world, this is why Corona has played havoc with northern continents, is because our population is actually getting older. So take Brexit, for example. If you look at Brexit, the sort of driving force behind it were people who are much older, who are not going to actually live through the actual effects and the disaster that's going to be. Because I have absolutely no doubt in my mind it's going to be a disaster. I say that because, you know what, if you look at the way these guys in the UK have handled COVID, and the situation we've ended up in, there's absolutely no reason why I should have any kind of confidence that these guys are going to pull this. You know, if they do make a deal, the deal's going to be rotten for us, because why? They're going to be forced to make a deal to try and cover face. If they don't make a deal, we are totally and utterly done for. And you are the generation who are going to live with the situation of that, because and the people who made the decision, I mean, we're talking how many years since the referendum, right?
Yeah.
There's so many hundreds of thousands, maybe even a couple of million people who didn't vote in that referendum because they were too young, who are now
of age,
have no say whatsoever
in what happened.
That's what, 4 years ago, isn't it?
Their whole lives are going to be changed by a decision that was made 3 or 4
that they
years
didn't
ago.
make.
Exactly. And like when I think about the
maybe
referendum,
25% of the people who actually voted have passed on. They're no longer
Yeah.
You don't have to.
That's true.
That's really true.
When you actually think about, like, when I think about the whole thing, like, look how many people have stepped down because this decision has been made.
Yeah.
Like, we know that this is not a good decision. We know. And even more so, like Dad said, now that we've seen the way that our country handles something like COVID, how are they going to handle us being out of the EU and then go on and negotiate trade decisions? Like, I don't feel confidence in them at all. And this is a lot of what puts young people off of politics, because then we're like, okay, first of all, we vote and we still get outdone by the older generation who it's not going to affect. Second of all, who wants to become a politician when this is the kind of greasy thing that happens in politics? You know, it puts us off. Like, I have a friend who talks about this quite a lot. He's like, you know, if we got into politics more, if people who represented us, young, black, minority, got into politics more, even just in local spaces, we could make the difference that we really wanted to. But we actually don't want to get involved in politics anymore because we just see it and it's like, oh, this just looks like
not really a respectable career path anymore.
Yeah, like, exactly.
People don't look at it like something that they want to progress into because you looked like at like a clown. Like, literally, you're against us or you're a clown. Like, you can't really.
Exactly. You'd much rather be part of a rebellion and, you know, go out on the streets and try and fight for your peace. Then be like, oh, I want to be a politician and make the changes from the inside.
But then, do you know what? That's our generation. So our brothers' generation, they are all passionate about politics. A lot of them, you say to them, what do you want to do? They want to be politicians. And I'm talking these, let's say 19 to 23-year-olds.
Well, that gives me more hope. I would
to be politicians. What I do believe that that age group, I've noticed how much your brother has become very kind of political in his outview and whatever, but like I said, when you're younger, it's easy. It's kind of part of the passage. You know what I mean? And the danger, the situation is not to lose that passion. So you have people who have been in politics for years and years who started from when they were in university students, but the vast majority of people tend to get comfortable, start working, make a bit of money, and what, and then start getting convinced by the establishment that, oh, all these immigrants are coming from overseas and wanting to steal our jobs, and, you know, and then suddenly they start getting mellow and say, oh, no, we you know, the craziness that's happening with the Tory
I don't know. I've got hope in that generation. A lot of them are doing politics, saying that they want to get into it.
They want to get into it.
A lot of them are a lot more sustainable. They care about the planet as well.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, we have a bit of, you know, we're lucky because we had you. You made us watch documentaries. You taught us about being sustainable. Whereas a lot of people I know my age are like, I didn't even know these things were a problem.
But this is the
thing, they're not willing to give up those things. Like, a lot of people I'll talk to you about, like, cutting down on meat intake or even just recycling, and they're like, I can't be bothered. Oh, I don't want to stop doing that. I don't want to like, they understand where the problem is.
Look at Dad's face when you mention recycling.
It's true. No, they really don't understand. Like, they really, really don't get it because they understand that there's a problem that needs to be handled and that something can be done, but they don't feel like it's their responsibility to do anything about it. Like,
I think it's a comfort thing, and
it should fix it.
Yeah, our generation is really used to like instant gratification. So I don't care what's happening right now. Right now is all that I care about. And a lot of us are so below the poverty line that there's no time to think about, let's change the planet. It's like, oh, actually, I just need to get my next meal. Oh, I just need to, I need to
get food tomorrow.
Yeah, I need to build. I want to build for myself. I want to make this work. I need to get out of my situation. And therefore, everything else kind of falls at the wayside. And there's not really much, there's not much that you can do about it. And I find it difficult because people our age, I look at and I think, how can you not care about recycling or about the planet but we were raised because our culture is about not wasting, do you know what I mean? Yeah. We're making something out of nothing, or
using
making
what you have.
Exactly. Exactly. And sometimes that comes.
You like the way we put up culture. Yeah, it's true.
The thing is that when you now go, you guys know, the last 2 years I took extended trips to Africa. And the scary bit is that the behaviors that have now manifested in a lot of African countries are on the same route as what's happening in the Western world.
Oh, God.
So, you go on beaches and you see plastic bottles thrown and rubber, and you go in the streets and there's, cans thrown. The thing is that, here we have a little bit of a cleanup. An interesting thing. When this lockdowns, the original lockdown happened, I read somewhere that Birmingham City Council actually admitted that even though you're putting your stuff in the recycle bin,
they weren't recycling it.
Yeah.
Not being recycled, right? And simply the economics of what's this we can't be asked with having to deal with this extra problem.
Yeah.
And things were made worse when China started to refuse to take our filth.
Yeah.
Basically, you know what I mean? And you have people like the States and what have you losing their mind because we can't export our junk anymore. We have to deal with it at home.
At home.
They just throw it into a fire. And that kind of thing. So it's it's sad because growing up I would go like to my grandmother's farm.
Yeah,
and that when we go back to David Attenborough and talk about climate change, right?
Yeah,
I went there last year, and I can see the effect of what is going on with our climate right there.
Wow.
Where as a kid I used to love to go every holiday, right?
Oh wow.
It's much drier. There's no water. It's the soil's depleted, and everything. Is that this? You can see this stuff with your own eyes. You can see.
Well, look, Victoria Falls dried up, and we didn't know if it was going to refill.
Huh? Sorry.
Victoria Falls dried up, and we weren't sure. Is it going to refill?
Oh my God! I didn't know that happened.
No, it really went dry this year.
It went really dry.
This year or last
year?
No,
last year.
It really went so bad. It was
last year. Victoria Falls went really dry, and Australia had those crazy fires.
Yeah, they had the fires.
If you see Victoria Falls in full swing, I swear I'm hard pressed to think there's a waterfall anywhere in the world that will qualify close to that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, listen, we all know I want to go
a mile away.
Mm.
The spray starts to wet you a kilometer and a half away from when you actually get to the falls. That's how much water is being generated. So. And the fact of the matter is things are getting drier, and you can see these things if you are living in these. The thing is in its cities and the third world and in the first world, we are very much protected from actually seeing the effects of it. We might have there's no avocados this year. Oh wow. But there's swathes of places where avocados grow where people are dying because things are not working for them. So
I think we have the luxury of not having to deal with it in our faces. I mean, and maybe that's why culturally things are so different. Maybe that's why if you see someone who's like living in poverty here, their main thing is, let me go and get a job to make it, you know, let me work up this ladder. If you see someone in poverty, maybe where we're from, they're finding out how to make what they have make them something. Do you know what I mean? If you looked at the start of COVID, the amount of people in Africa who were coming up with sanitation devices from using like old barrels and things that they already had, like, that is the innovation that we don't have, because we're like, oh, we don't have that, someone's going to have it for us. Like,
but I think
it's not.
What I wanted to touch on with that kind of stuff is that it's not, there's only so much that we as people on that line can do. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
A lot of big corporations that are the ones burning like tons and tons of trash, or the ones throwing oil into the ocean. Like, we can make a difference. We can be more sustainable, but there's only so much that the majority is actually doing to cause the problem. It is big companies and corporations that are emitting all of these gases into the sky and whatever. It's their responsibility in some sense to think about how they are creating the things that we use every day and how they can do that in a way that's sustainable, because we only do so much. We only take so much. They are consistently taking coal and taking oil and whatever else. Not so how can they make a difference for us, or how can we get into those positions where we are in charge and saying, you know what, why haven't we in a windy country got enough what are those wind turbines? Why don't we it's windy as hell here. Why don't we get
you know what it is? It's business, isn't it? Like, this is where politics comes into it, because businesses hate to spend money, right, or lose money. So the people who are the cultures that are making money from oil and coal, and I don't know why they're so against, oh, actually, if we just took this money and refunneled it into a renewable energy source, we'd be making a ridiculous amount of money and we'd be helping the planet. It boggles me.
You see, the thing is we've been tricked. Capitalism has tricked us into believing that the only motivation for a commercial organization is profit, right? And this is not an old, you know, from the time they started talking about corporations and whatever, that was never. If you think back to things like Cadbury and the chocolate, we Midlands people in the UK, we know Cadbury, we know, and then you got Roundtree in right? Yeah. These people built villages. They built living conditions for workers, and workers. You know, the workers were, the businesses were actually committed to keeping their workers comfortable and whatever, and keep producing. Yes, profit is always profit is, you know, you're not going to do something if it's not going to give you something back. So what has happened is, especially after the Second World War, the emphasis has been about producing profits. Right, and the thing is that we've got corporations that are so big that we have been caught in a catch-22 situation. Okay, you work, you pay into a pension fund. That pension fund needs to make money to pay you when you retire, right? So they invest your money in a corporation that makes profit. So they start to put pressure on that corporation to produce profits. And the higher the profits, we as a society have failed to recognize that we need to be able to say what is an acceptable level of profits. If you look at Amazon during this crisis and whatever, right? There's nothing to make Bezos even feel guilty about making 100% margin on anything. There's nothing. You know, there's nothing to say, you know what? Our margin should be 25%. Anything above 25% needs to be reinvested in something social. There's nothing like that. And yet there were companies, if you look at old family companies that existed previously, the owners would take pay cuts or stop taking salaries out of companies to ensure that their employees still remain employed.
Exactly.
The situation with COVID now, huh? Weatherspoons. The guy, you know what? Everybody
Weatherspoons don't.
Sorry. You know.
It's okay. It's okay, Dad. We
Dad, it's fine.
We swear on the podcast.
Everybody go work for Aldi. I don't care. When I reopen, you will all come back looking for jobs from me. You know what I mean? That is the mentality, and we've now got to the point where we are actually looking at business leaders as if they're the ones who are. Look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump's popularity comes from the fact that he claims that he's a billionaire businessman.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Bankrupt billionaire businessman.
When did we get to the point whereby, right, money became so important that people's livelihoods are no more important?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Companies used to exist and say, you know what? We have a duty. Villages and small towns all around, especially in England, existed. Or maybe one or two companies. Everybody there worked for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the people who ran those companies had a moral duty to ensure the well-being of the village and the place where they were operating. But it's not like that anymore. So we've been into these pension companies. These pension companies are saying, for me to get all these people paying into my pension fund, I need to be producing some spectacular returns. Therefore, I put pressure on companies to make big profits. Right? Yeah. And then what happens is that those people fire people. The same people who are actually relying on the pensions that they're paying for. You know, so it's a circular, vicious cycle whereby I'll put my pension money into the best performing funds without, you know, and some of the funds are now starting to realize that some people are saying, I'm not putting my money into funds that invest in oil and gas. Yeah. That's what's going to change the situation. Mm-hmm. There was one quote I heard, I can't remember who said it. He said, for the first time in history, the people who run companies make more money than the people who own companies. And that's what's happening. You have the fat cats who are paying themselves like bonuses and millions of pounds, and they don't own anything. They risk nothing. Yeah. They got a job and they risk nothing, and they get paid millions. If I'm going to make $1 million, and I put it into something risky, then fair enough. If I make $1 million, all good for me, isn't it? But I risk something. But you turn up at a job interview, somebody say, the pay is 25 million. All you need to do is just give us this bottom line, 10% every year. Fire people, you know, do dirty deals, buy, you know, offer the British government, safety equipment, even though we've never ever produced it in our lifetimes. But anyway, you know, let's have a contract for a couple of million from Bojo and Company. You know, as long as you make the money, you good, we'll pay you. Yeah. That's what happened. We've lost the morality of it all. Yeah. And you look at you know, the situation with farms, and they're like, oh, we're paying £1 for a 2-liter bottle of milk. Seriously, when you think about it, you're like, how much does the farmer actually get paid for that 2 liters of milk? Yeah, because when he produced it, it was raw, so it's been through some processes. And whatever. How much money did we give him?
That's true.
It's mad. So we've become, and we're loving artists and football players and people who are producing absolutely nothing in terms of advancing us as a human race. Yeah. Right? The artists are getting nothing. Yeah. The entertainers are getting everything, and everybody else in between is scratching around. And the business owners, you know, it's like, well, those I always group millionaires into two different things, or billionaires, very rich people. The ones who got there because they grafted hard, had a great idea, and they actually are decent kind of human beings. Yeah. And the ones who pretend that they know what the hell, you know, they've made it. Yeah. Going into money. With the spoons and whatever. You know,
Yeah.
people slate Bill Gates. I rate Bill Gates. I rate him. You know, people say, what's this? He is spending all his time and money and effort in dealing with things that us as a human race have to deal with. And everybody sees it, he's got a profit motive in it. Why would he? He's rich enough, he could sit on his ass on a beach or in Jamaica or whatever and not bother. You know, you look at people like Cliff Richard and people who bought their own islands and whatever. They do nothing. Richard Branson is asking for handouts, even though he's got loads of money. It's like, wait a minute. You know the ones who are genuinely they were lucky. They got rich, and they got really rich. And when they got rich, they've realized, you know what? I have to give something back. And there's videos on YouTube where you see some really rich people saying, we need to be taxed more, tax us.
Do you think that people need to learn how to grow their own food?
Absolutely.
In the Western world?
Absolutely.
In the Western world as well?
I don't even think in the Western world at all, only.
No, not only, as well.
We spend an inordinate amount of time and effort and money shifting stuff we can grow in our own countries, shifting them across the world. Right?
I know.
Maybe for the sake of a few pence per kilogram, whatever, right? And the thing is that something like COVID, we've been lucky this time, but I remember a few years ago, they had a truckers' strike. Because of the price of diesel, right? Apparently, we were 1 day away from all the shelves in the supermarket being empty. And we've been lucky that somehow these guys got I'll give the supermarket and the food market props that they somehow managed to get themselves in a situation whereby it wasn't that bad for us with this COVID virus when the lockdown came down. But the thing is that stuff like food, and I kind of believe this, is that a lot of times some of the issues we have dietary and health-wise are because we are eating foods that are not foods that belong to the environment that we live in. Right? For example, 100%. We have avocados, right? Avocados do not grow in the temperate climates in Europe or whatever. But all of a sudden, they're a superfood in Europe. The same diet for Southern Indians in India is killing them here in the UK.
But in India, it's fine.
Right? So you got to look at the ingredients of it and say, okay, what is it that they are doing there? Salt is a classic example. They bring salt. They are Africans, and when I was diagnosed high blood pressure, it was like, reduce your salt. It's just assumed because I'm what's this? I'm of African descent and whatever. I'm shoving salt down my throat
on everything.
If you were mom, that would have been the case. Definitely. Get roast chicken, put salt on a plate, and dip it into the salt as if it was sauce.
I'm stressed. You know how much that used to annoy me when I cook for mum and she doesn't taste the food, but she puts salt on the food before she tastes it. Are you mad?
So you see,
but no, you're not that type of African dad.
Especially with food, I see it like, you know what? We need to be in a situation where we grow our food, stuff that grows, we eat. And stuff, and the less we do of the refined food, and it's actually really hard for people to understand that things like potatoes are not even they're not even European. They're not European vegetables. Right? They were brought from South America, and then suddenly a place like Ireland became at the time of the potato famine. Right, that was what the farmers were growing. They were growing it in the tons and tons and tons, growing potatoes. And because they were growing the potatoes and it was the cash crop, when they had a problem, and the same is happening to bananas apparently in most parts of the world, is that once they start to get attacked by a certain kind of disease and whatever. Right? You have a major problem. The Irish, one of the reasons why a lot of Irish people ended up in the Americas is because there was a potato famine. The crops failed massively, right? And if you grow your own stuff in your own back garden, right? And you always dream in Zimbabwe. I can't talk about other African countries, but growing up in Zimbabwe, just about everybody I knew, every family I knew had a vegetable plot at the back of the garden. Sometimes they were even growing maize. You know what I mean? Yeah. You'd go there and they'd be like, you know what? We've got too much corn. Take some.
But then that's the thing. It's the community, because if I'm growing pears and you're growing mangoes, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Literally. No, same as the other day.
I believe that one of the reasons why Zimbabweans have actually survived through the crises that they have, was if any of the viewers don't really know what Zimbabwe has been through in the past 30 years, you have no idea about how it's been so difficult. I'm so amazed at how many people have actually survived it. And people say, well, people have gone to Europe and they've sent money back. Yes, that is a big part of it. But, people have learned, you've got your little patch at the back with enough vegetables growing, normally
keep a few chickens,
a couple of chickens at the back and whatever. So when things are hard, you've got something that you can fall back on. And yes, it's difficult to do in big cities like Birmingham and whatever. But the fact of the matter is that as a local community, like, we have the allotments. Okay.
And a lot of
I really want to get an allotment.
Pardon?
Okay, you can't do like livestock on allotments and whatever. But if you don't have to have meat, do you?
I wouldn't listen. I could not do chickens.
I'm thinking about getting some
chickens.
Your neighbours will hate you.
First of all, no. I live in an area where people have chickens. People have livestock around here. It's okay.
In many councils, you're not allowed to keep livestock in your garden.
Okay.
Listen, my dad lives in inner city Birmingham.
Chicken.
With alpacas.
Alpacas in Winston Green. It was amazing.
In Winston Green.
Yeah, I remember chickens in Handsworth.
But why did they have being in every other country? It's not like being here.
What's that?
Well, it's true.
Chickens in Handsworth and alpacas in Winston Green.
Yeah.
I'm traumatized by chickens.
I just hate the smell. I hate the smell.
You get used to the smell.
I was chased by chickens as a youth, okay?
Chase them back.
I will never forget being chased by a chicken.
For those that don't know.
And the first time I saw a headless chicken, I had nightmares for
You guys, yeah? I've probably told you guys this story many times before, right? But when we came back from the Seychelles and we moved back to Zimbabwe, we went to stay with one of my aunties, Auntie Lisa. And she was...
Yes, people be jealous he grew up in the Seychelles.
Serious amount of chickens. And for years, I really struggled to eat chicken.
Was that because of seeing them killed or the smell?
The smell, just the smell and the what's the view? It's even now sometimes if somebody's like boiling chicken.
Yeah, boiling.
When they just put the chicken in water.
Nah.
I won't be able to eat it. You have to fry it
boiled
first,
chicken in this day and age.
then make your curry or whatever. Otherwise, I can't do it. The chickens are.
I love them more, you know. I'm not gonna lie. Ever since being in Zimbabwe, I love them way more. Like
that's what I was gonna say. For those that don't know, Leah got to live there for a year as a teenager.
Yo, I love them. I always talk about this because I get judged because mostly all I eat is chicken. So people are like, "How do you still eat it after you saw them? You killed them, you plucked them, you bled them." Like, I'll kill what I eat. I don't know how to do it. I don't care.
Trust me. Yeah, could go on to one of these survival shows, you know.
I think about it, you know. Let me go on Bear Grylls.
Isn't it? People have got so detached from the process that produces their food that they actually don't realize where it comes from and the process in which they obtain it.
If people knew how much goes into like killing a cow, they'd eat less beef.
And I think a lot of
they wouldn't eat cows if they saw one get killed.
The animal rights thing, you know, the people who do animal rights, they try to bring this to people. A lot of people don't want to know about it because what
out of sight, out of mind
is the extreme end.
You know?
We have chickens that we call road runners. They're so tough. You have to cook them down.
They're delicious. They're delicious.
No, they're not.
That's the athlete of chicken. That is the athlete of chickens. They taste delicious.
They're like
I was saying this to someone the other day. People talk about wanting like free range chickens. No, you don't. Because there's no fat. They're just muscly and tough.
Really do.
It's like meat. It's like meat chewing gum. It's delicious, man.
No. Give me that.
Will and Dave, yeah. They've started a project where every year for the next 10 years, they're giving £1 million away to people who come up with innovative ideas to save the environment.
Oh,
so
wow.
they have I think they have 6 different.
Been doing that for years.
Yes, well,
yeah.
The more the merrier. So I think they've got 6 categories of like farming, power, recycling. They've got like 6 different categories, and they're giving £1 million to each person who comes up with the most innovative idea each year for the next 10 years to try and change the climate.
Dad, can you go make us the millions?
So, Dad, it's your time to shine.
A lot of people don't realize, and I'm probably going to put some people off rice, that a lot of rice is actually grown in what is called night soil. Night soil.
They call it night soil, trying to make it sound better than what it is. Night soil. Is it human waste?
It's human waste.
Oh, you know what? That is it. I'm never calling a poop again. I'm gonna go plant some night soil.
What happens is that they called it night soil because they actually sleep at night, so that everybody's sleeping when the worst.
And they don't.
Oh my God!
Stink. So yeah. So many people don't realize that prior to fertilizer, that's how we enrich the soil. The alternative was.
Can you fix your faces, sisters, please?
You grew stuff. Then you left that and you moved to another field and you grew stuff there. And then 3 or 4 years later, you came back to the field that you left. 3 or 4 rotation farming. This was the original kind of way farming was done. Right?
We're talking about, on Dave's documentary.
Yeah.
There's a part where he's talking about, it might already be too late.
Oh my God.
And it all went quiet, and I was just like, "Oh, Dave, Dave."
Super sad.
I would never hug a stranger apart from David Attenborough. Like I would love a hug from Dave, and I'm sure it would be the best hug ever because he's got the Winnie the Pooh voice as well. I'll be like, No.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He's the national treasure.
He really is.
He is. Even his brother is the one who passed away. You know, I think he was an anthropologist or something.
Yes.
You know, these guys, when Britain has to look about treasures, you know, people who have really been of icons. I think them two have to be in there. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Alongside what's his name, the guy, the physicist,
Hawkins.
Stephen Hawkins. You know, we talk about the comedians, we talk about the actors and whatever.
Yeah.
And these people made an immense impact on the planet, on people's thinking of the planet. Because you know what? You might not make a physical. If I can change the mind of somebody who can do something, just as powerful as that person.
100%.
That's what it takes. It takes people to say, you know what? Okay, maybe I can't make a change. Just take an example of us, Lord, right?
Yeah.
You guys growing up knew recycling. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something that is just carrying on with you, lot, and you're going to pass it on to your kids. I personally have, you know, I recycled what I made a mess of. But maybe somewhere along the line there'll be somebody who's going to take that a little bit further than I, which is what my long-term plan is to try and do something in the recycling and what's this. But it might not happen for me, you know, but it might happen with one of your kids or grandkids or whatever. But the thing is that it's planting that seed to think about the things that are really important in our lives. And you know what? The truth of the matter is that right now, economic considerations have to be less important than physical and comfort considerations, because money is no use when money has no use. You know, money is about trust. Money is about trust. If I give you £10, you're going to take that £10 because you trust that you can buy £10 worth of goods with that £10. The moment you think I'm not going to be able to buy anything, you're going to say to me, "Have you got chickens? I'll give you a pig for a chicken."
Yeah.
Because all that money is about making it easy to do bartering, which is exactly what you're doing. It's like I'm selling you my time, you give me some money so I can go and buy some furniture. You know, you could have bartered.
You could have sold tomatoes to the furniture man.
I'll come and do your electrics or something.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I always talk about this with my friends. Yeah, because I'm always saying that I think one of the main ways that we went wrong was going from trade in that fashion to going to putting a value, putting a name on it or a note on it or a coin on it or whatever. Because realistically, everybody's built to do their thing. Everybody has something that someone else can't do. I can't grow nothing for nobody. I'm really good with wood. I'm really good. I could build you a cabinet in like 2 days, easy. Because that's what my hands are good at. But easily someone else could have like chickens or a pig or whatever, and I could say, listen, I will give you all the furniture for your house if you give me 2 months worth of chicken, pig, eggs, whatever. And this is the way humans should be living and making things work. It's community, it's about sustainability, it's about actually caring about the environment that you are in, you're a part of. And I think humans forget all the time that we are a part of the universe and the earth around us. It's part of us.
This is the thing. This is what I say, like growing up, how we grew up, we knew that. We knew that. I remember going to Zimbabwe, killing a spider. It was huge. It was huge.
Getting in trouble for it.
Killing a spider and getting in trouble. Like, honestly, like I murdered someone's child. It was a spider.
It's not your you are in its environment. You've got no business doing that. Yeah.
Like even now,
when I'm there, when I'm here, I don't. In England, it's different. Yeah, I don't care. I'll kill a spider, a cockroach. When I'm in Zims, I don't. I feel like I'm in it. Like we are symbiotically living together. It's not like you're in my space or whatever. It's just, oh, look, there's a spider on the wall, casual, I'll keep my distance.
I think in Africa, they're very much, if you're killing something, you're killing it to eat it.
For a reason.
You're not killing it for the sake of it. To get our podcast back on its
light-hearted,
normal trajectory of nonsense. Dad, what was it like raising 3 daughters? And who's your favourite?
Oh, wow!
Who's his favourite? Throw it out there like that, you know.
Like we don't
know.
There's never, I think you have to become a parent. You have to become a parent, really, to understand that the concept of a favorite child is not really true, right? Pull your face but no. But the thing is that genetics is a wonderful thing, isn't it? It gives you 3 individuals who are not like their mother, not like their father. And you have to learn to actually manage each of them without feeling unfair. So one of the biggest mistakes I feel with old style parenting is that it's one size fit all. It's like, you know what? This is my rules, and these are the rules, and what.
Yeah.
And one thing I realize, not only just girls, even with Zayn, is that you have different characters that you're dealing with, especially once you get past that toddler age.
Yeah.
So once you get to that toddler age, you start to show your character quite a bit. And then you realize this one I'm going to be strict with, this one I can be easy with, I just need to talk to her. This one, needs to be thrown in the shower and have a timeout or whatever. But I would never, there's one thing I would never regret is having had children. And in a way, and for me, I'm massively proud about how you guys have turned out.
Oh.
Right?
Thank you, Daddy.
Okay, it's not, I would say, okay, by modern standards, we'll be like, well, they haven't done much or whatever, but you've done like no, I mean in terms of they don't make money and blah. But that's not what, that was not about the point about raising you. The point about raising you is not about, you're going to grow up and be a doctor and be a nurse and be a No, it's about you people as human beings and how you deal with other people and whatever. That's what life is about. Because at the end of the day, you could be a doctor and I'll throw you in the middle of the Sahara Desert and you'll be bloody useless. Yeah. But if you can talk to people and relate to people, if you found you could talk to a camel to give you a ride to the side of the desert. You're good to go, isn't it? You're a good person. So, and a lot of men love the idea of having sons. Like, my son, and I've seen it over the years where men are over the moon. They have the first son, and the sons. What's this? Because you can relate to them because you do this. You think, we're going to play football together. I can't do that with the girl. And But as a man, you are better off having daughters because daughters tend to be closer to their father,
and sons to their mother,
and sons to their mother. So all you kids, was in my opinion, was the greatest achievement. And I always say, I wish your mom was still around because she'd be so proud of you guys. But
thank you.
The thing is that it's up to you guys to take yourselves forward and whatever, but it doesn't stop me caring and worrying and saying, you know what? And one of the reasons that I keep on talking about going back to Africa is to open another route for you guys to find another route.
Yeah.
If this makes sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to be in a position where you can say, you know what, bugger it, I'm done with this place. I you know, can Dad,
I've been done.
huh? What are you doing? Can I come and see what it's like or whatever? Because I'm not convinced personally that the future of my grandchildren is here in Europe.
Not here.
UK based. Not at all.
No.
Not my baby.
It's not here. Unfortunately, as good as the UK has been to us, especially to me and whatever, was you got to remember, I left school with what is the equivalent of GCSEs. And I've got to the stage where I'm running my own company, or I've worked in companies and I've earned some really good, you know, it gives you the sense that I wouldn't have been able to do this in Africa. Why?
Yeah.
Because in Africa, they're doing exactly what used to happen during colonial times. Who you know, what your connections are, and whatever.
Yeah.
I would never have been able. But now I'm in a position where I hold the experience and now I've got serious again instead of what's this.
It's okay.
It's okay.
The point is that I've got the opportunity to use what I have gained here to open a new route. And if you guys ever have time and you look up YouTube and you look at some of this of the people who are going back, young people who are going back to Africa, some people are born or their parents are from Africa, but there's also a lot of YouTube videos of people who were born and grown and maybe 3-4 generations, even from slavery times, who are picking themselves up and going to Africa. There's loads of people who are doing it. Why? Because the opportunity is massive. It's massive. This now, in this day and age, in my opinion, the wild west of the modern era, you know, the wild west, the Americans, we grow whatever. It's not that wild, but anyway. But the fact of the matter is that the land of opportunity now lies in Africa.
It's not there. Yeah.
It doesn't lie in Asia. Is already picked themselves up by the bootstraps. They are all now middle class income families. And I always remember, I can't remember which guru said it, but he said there's 2 places you make money. Catering to the very rich or catering to the poor.
Catering to the very poor.
Wiping my butt and telling me when to go to bed and when to wake up. And oh, God, that scares me. I'd rather say, you know what? Feed me to the sharks or something.
Oh my God.
No, I'm serious.
Dad's always said this though. Dad has
always said it.
I've never changed. I've said it. And I keep saying to Auntie Jenny, and I'll keep saying to you guys, if there ever comes, let's say, God forbid I have a stroke or whatever, they say he's going to be a cabbage. But we can keep him on the life. Take the bloody thing off. Take the bloody thing off. You know what I mean? Because the worst thing that could happen to me in my final moments is to suffer, to die.
Yeah.
That for me is, and I'll keep on saying it because I don't want for you to ever have the doubt. Maybe the ones to know.
No, of course.
Yes, we know that.
We know since we were way too young to know. Dad does not want this.
But anyway, to answer your question, right? I've never regretted being a dad. I've never regretted having you guys. You know what? You've given me ups and downs and what have you. But generally, when I look at you lot and compare me with some of these things I've seen in my life and other family situations, I am so grateful. You know, I'm so grateful. And, you know, despite what happened between your mom and I'm so grateful that we were together and we had you lot, because somehow between the two of us, we muddled through reasonably well.
Yeah.
We muddled through reasonably well. And
yeah.
Let's wrap it up, okay? Future is female. Bojo is the idiot. Can't believe I called
Bojo the bozo.
Dad loves his daughters. We love our dad. David Attenborough is the
national treasure.
The GOAT. Trust me.
We need to be more sustainable.
Don't forget his brother, even though he's passed.
Yes.
And his brother.
Yes.
We need to be more sustainable.
Yes, be more sustainable. Look after your planet.
And it's time to move to Africa.
And grow your own food.
Yes.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Grow your little vegetable patch in the back.
Exactly.
Learn how things grow. Learn how to eat them, how to keep keep your stuff going. Because if you know how to grow your own food, you can live.
Survive.
Exactly.
Crazy times.
Learn how to use your own poop for rice.
No. Monique, this is where I always lock you off on every episode. Do you know what? Next week, people, next week.
Poop. Do you know using poop to grow things